Okay, so Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Anindya Putri Salsabila. Here, I'm going to talk about sex education. To start our discussion, I'll describe about what is sex education. Then I'll mention the benefit of sex education, why sexual health is important, factors that influence sexuality, some problems related to sexuality, sexual violence due to lack of sex education, and the last one is stages of teaching about sex education. Finally, I'll summarize my presentations. I'll try to answer any of your questions after the presentations. Okay, so first of all, I'll tell you guys about what is sexual education. Okay, so sex education is a knowledge that we teach about everything related to gender. This includes starting from gender growth, male or woman, how the genitals functions as reproductive organs, how the genitals develop in women and in men, about menstruations, wet dreams, and so on, up to the one set of loss is due to changes in hormones, including later problems, marriage, pregnancy, and so on. Well, I've told you about sex educations. Next, we're going to talk about benefits of sex education. Okay, so there are 4 benefits that can be taken from sex education according to Didi Hermawan. Children gain knowledge about 1. Biological, psychological, and changes psychology that occurs as a result of human growth and development. And the functioning of the human reproductive system is now starting to work, so the children are more careful in caring for and protecting their reproductive organs. 3. Gaining knowledge and understanding about ethics and various abnormal sexual behaviors that should be avoided, and understanding various consequences of harassment, reproductive organs that pose a threat to health, both physical and mentally. Next, why sexual health is important. Sexual health is a state of physical, emotional, mental, and social well-being regarding sexuality. It is not simply the absence of disease, dysfunctions, or weakness. Sexual health requires a positive and respectful approach to sexuality and sexual relationships, as well as the possibility of having pleasurable and safe sexual experiences, free from coercion, discriminations, and violence. Sexual health is a concept that is undergoing evolutions, not only in its definition, but also in its practical applications. The term generally encompasses a focus on health and well-being rather than disease. An appreciation of the importance of sexual health as part of overall health, and efforts to comprehensively address important public health impacts. Next, there are factors that influence sexuality. So there are 3 categories. In the category of biological factors, there are age, gender, marital status, race, disabilities, and sexual transmitted infections. Next, in the psychological category, there are the impact of body image, sexual abuse in childhood, and mental health history. Lastly, in the social category, there are the roles of parents, peers, and the media. Next, we are going to talk about some problems related to sexuality. Okay, so there are many diseases related to sexuality. There are chlamydia, a type of genital thrush, gonorrhea, HIV, syphilis, HPV, and herpes. These diseases that arise can be minimized if we have a good understanding about sex. Next, we are going to talk about sexual violence due to lack of sex education. Preventing sexual violence is an important public health priority for a multitude of reasons. In addition to the obvious human rights violations described by the statistic above, experiencing sexual violence also has both immediate and long-term health consequences. Physical consequences include pregnancy as well as HIV acquisitions, chronic pain, gastrointestinal disorders, gynecological complications, migraine, cervical cancer, and genital injuries. Immediate psychological consequences of sexual violence include shock, denial, fear, confusion, anxiety, withdrawal, guilt, shame, distrust of others, and post-traumatic stress disorder. And longer-term psychological consequences include depression, generalized general anxiety, attempted or complete suicide, diminished interest or avoidance of sex, and low self-esteem. Next, we are going to talk about how to teach children about sex educations. Okay, so when your child starts elementary school, you can help them understand what is appropriate in clothing, how to stay clean and healthy, and how to respect people who are different from them. As they approach puberty, you can start talking to them about what changes will occur so they don't feel scared or surprised. Puberty doesn't start until the end of elementary school at the earliest, but it's a good idea to start discussing the basics of puberty with your child early on. That's why they will be prepared when things start to change, and they won't feel scared or confused. Make sure they know that their body is theirs and no one else's. It wasn't good for someone to pressure her into showing her body if she didn't want to. The only person who can tell them what to do with their body for health and safety reasons is you. Okay, so those are some references that I've used. In conclusion, it is very important for us to convey sex educations to people, especially teenagers and those who are experiencing puberty, with the aim of avoiding unwanted things. I think, any questions? Okay, I don't think there's any question. It's okay. So thank you so much guys for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.